Hey guys, Albe here, back in my garage with the Aprilia Tuono V4 1100RR. This time around we're gonna remove this ugly and gigantic license plate holder and we're gonna replace it with an Evotech Performance tail tidy. But enough with the chit chat, let's get on it. So there are a few things that needs to be done right off the bat, and one of them is remove the rear seat, which is simple enough. And if some of you still don't know how to remove it, you gotta pop the sides 1 and 2 and then just use the key to open it and pull it out. Once the seat is out, you gotta disconnect all this bunch of stuff over here. So the instruction called to lift this out of the way, because you gotta go underneath and unplug the rear light, which should be this one right here. Now watch out, because those two, this and this, are actually hot. They're wired directly to the battery, so I recommend to unplug the battery itself. Once you are on the bottom side, you gotta remove this plug over here, which comes out really easy. At this point we're gonna remove those two screws over here. Remember that on the inside there is a little nut that needs to come out as well. And the little nut is a 10mm. Next up in there should be another Phillips head screw. This one should not have a nut or anything, it should just unscrew and come out. Here we go, it does. Remember that plug we unplugged earlier? Here it comes, there it is. At this point I'm gonna go ahead and remove the license plate. We have to remove this screw over here. There it is. And once you do that, if you guys look in here, not sure if you guys can see in there, there are two screws that need to be removed as well. So it's time to get these upside down and remove those 4 screws over here. There we go. We open this thing up and pull these out of it. One out, put it aside. It is time to remove this and put it aside to free up the light, so we can pass the light through the hole over here. We are one step closer. So at this point we gotta unplug the turn signals, and to do so we actually need to take apart the turn signal itself. I'll show you one and you guys can do the other on your own. There is the little screw over there. Once the little screw is out, you can remove the lens, put it aside because you're gonna use it again, maybe with this. Here we go. Pull it out and undo the turn signal. Once you have unplugged the turn signal, you can actually pull the wires through the inside and out. That's it. I'm gonna do the same on this side, and the whole harness is out of the tail. You are not quite done yet, especially if you are retaining the turn signals, because you have to remove the turn signals itself. So grab 10mm for the inside and then a 4mm Allen key and just undo it. So we're done with this, so we can put it aside. And now we gotta start assembling the Evotech tail tidy. The very first thing you need to start assembling is the license plate light. Get this wire and pass it through the hole. Obviously, get the bolt down there. Start tying them up and make sure that it's pointing down, obviously. At this point, get the wire and pass it through this hole over here. And the reason is because once this is completed, this goes right there. At this point, it's time to install the turn signals. And remember, this little cut over here, this little notch, needs to be on the bottom. You put it in opposite, and then you twist it around, because there is a lock mechanism in the back. Do the same on both sides. At this point, once you have the turn signal in, it's time to grab the provided wires from Evotech and put them through to the turn signal. One over here, and then they all go through the center hole. At this point, we're gonna plug those back in, and the instruction call for red to the outside. Once you got the wire in, time to put the light back where they belong, and obviously time also to put the lens back in. And then at this point, remember the light that got in the way. Now we're gonna put it in over here, and then through the big hole as well. Once you have them all in, it's time to grab the provided zip ties. Put the zip tie in like this and like this. This is made on purpose so that the wires are hiding behind the bracket. Then I'm gonna grab the second zip tie and do the same as I did over there. In here, around. At this point, we cut most of it. Okay, time to start cramping those provided plugs into our wires. I'm gonna clamp them on. I'll catch you back when I'm done. Once you have done all the cramping and clamping and whatnot, so once the harness is ready, once the license plate holder it's ready, it's time to start matching them up. Let's start with the license plate light. According to the instructions, red goes with yellow and blue goes with black. So in theory, the right hand signal over here, the red goes with the red and the black goes with the blue. On the left hand signal, the instruction called for the darker blue to go with the red, but because the darker blue seems to be the ground on the others and the black is the ground, I'm gonna plug the darker blue with the black and the lighter blue with the red. And time to put it back on the bike. Before I pass all the bundle through the hole, I'm gonna plug this back in with his own plug, and I'm gonna test the signals before I start putting everything back together. Okay, so we have the license plate light seems to work. Right hand, left hand. Okay, it looks like I plug everything in the right place. So don't do as the instructions say for the left hand signal. Just plug it away. I just explained it. But let's turn the bike off and let's put this back on. So Evotech gives you a whole bunch of black Allen key screws. So let's start putting them on. And those are all 4mm Allen keys. Remember, those two screws have the little nut in the back. And time to tie them all up. Tuck the wires in there, nice and neat. Once you have it all tucked in, time to uncover this thing and put it back in. And time to put the seat back on. 1 and 2. Now the license plate holder looks pretty good, but because this is a weird design, you have to add brackets to be able to put an American license plate on it. Unfortunately, Evotech gives you this, a few plastic screws and a few plastic nuts, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Therefore, I'm gonna put my own hardware and try to make it work. Here in the States, if you don't have a red reflecting little thing in the back on the license plate, you are liable to get a ticket. It's a fixed ticket, it's not a big deal, but it's still $25. Now, in Europe, I'm not sure, but Europe being the way it is, they probably toss you in jail for 5 to 10 years if you don't have one of those. So Evotech provides the red reflector, but it doesn't provide the bracket for it. They want you to poke a hole in your license plate and add it like that. So instead of poking a hole in the license plate, I made this, which is nothing else than a piece of metal with a bunch of holes, and I'm gonna actually attach this to the makeshift bracket. Another thing you can use is those things over here. Those go on top of your bolts and snap in. So if you don't want this, you can use those, but as a tradition, I have purple bolts in the back. What can I say? They bring me luck, so I'm gonna keep using them. So in the end, this is the finished result. The Evotech bracket definitely looks better than the OEM. The OEM is massive, while the Evotech bracket is nice and compact, and everything is where it is supposed to be to begin with. As always, the bracket and the hardware to install the bracket is top quality. It's thick aluminum, power coated, and everything fits perfect. The only thing was those bolts to fit the license plate. The installation was easy enough. The only thing was remembering which wire goes where. But if you do this job as you're watching this video, I'm spelling it right out which color goes where, and I actually correct the installation diagram that comes with the Evotech tail tidy. For anything I used in this video, links are in the description. Other than that, if you like the video, like. If you love the video, subscribe. If you don't love the video, subscribe anyway and let me know why you didn't love the video. Right on, and I'll see you next time.